Ahoy and welcome back to another video. It is the end of February, so it's time to talk about all the games I played this month. It's a video series I do at the end of every month. I'm going to go over the games I played during this month, and then I'll go over the games that I played this month that didn't come out this month. So, starting off with the games I played that came out in February. I have three games this month, actually. The first one is one I made a video on a few weeks ago. It's called Astral Throne. This is an indie Fire Emblem roguelite. And if you heard those words, indie Fire Emblem roguelite, you can probably get a picture of what this game is and what it looks like. I'm playing on my Steam Deck. I really enjoyed it. I played it for about 7 hours, like right when it came out that first weekend. And I actually haven't gone back to it yet, not because I haven't wanted to play it, but because I've been playing other things. Basically, this game is you start off and you pick your starting character, your main like lord or whatever, who's gonna like be the centerpiece of your story. They have a background. And you pick a side character who also has some background and interacts with the story a little bit differently. And then you start off on a regular old Fire Emblem map, playing Fire Emblem. So you have your tiles, you move around, you do turn-based attacks. So once you get through all that, it's going to put you on it'll put you on an overworld map. And basically what you do is you have a meter at the bottom of the screen, and you need to use your time, which is that meter, it builds up as time goes, to go see if you want to do more fights to build up your character's experience, if you want to make a trip to an armory, if you want to make a trip to a shop, make a trip to a chest somewhere. And this part of the game interacts almost a little bit like if you played Oregon Trail, like the old computer game Oregon Trail. Sometimes you'll come up on like a path and it'll have like, you have a split path. It's like, well, if you go this way, these characters might get a little injured, but if you go this way, you might lose some gold, or this way it'll take some resources to go. So you're basically going through all these decision trees to figure out your path of what maps and what blacksmiths and stuff you want to go to, and you go to like an end chapter map, which is a little bit more difficult, has harder enemies, but I like the game a lot. I want to get back to it. It has kind of an early, almost like an early PS1 art style, and the battle during the actual gameplay parts of the game, the maps, the overworld's like a 2D pixel art, but the Fire Emblem maps part of it are like an early 3D PS1 looking art style. It's a lot of fun. I did a couple runs. I got one run where I got pretty late into the game and then I lost, and then it kind of like, if you play a roguelite and you get far and you lose, it kind of, sometimes you want to get right back in there and go again, but sometimes you're like, it kind of stung, and it was like 5 hours of time, and I was like, okay, I'll get back to that, and I never have got back to it, but I do plan on beating the game. It's a lot of fun. I'm a little, like, I learned late on, I was playing like with the Steam Deck portably, but I learned if I plug it up to my monitor and use a mouse, I was having some issues with the menu controls when I was playing portably, but playing with the mouse, it was actually a lot more intuitive, and it felt like the game's almost meant to be played with a mouse. And it made me realize that, like, I've only ever played Fire Emblem games like on Nintendo consoles with the D-pad and buttons. But maybe these kinds of games do work well with mouse control. So I'm actually kind of interested to see if if the Switch 2 does have that mouse mode, or actually it does have the mouse mode. It's pretty certain at this point. I'm wondering if the next Fire Emblem game will have implementation of like using the mouse to move around the tiles rather than using the D-pad. I bet that'll be fun. But yeah, Astral Throne, a lot of fun. I think it was like 10 or 15 bucks on Steam. If you like Fire Emblem, if you like roguelites, check it out. The next game I played that came out this month is another Steam game. This one I did finish because it's a lot shorter, and that is called A Game About Digging a Hole, and that's the actual title of the game. This game's pretty straightforward. It is a game about digging a hole. You start out in your backyard, you have a little shovel, and there's a big old X in your backyard. You start digging there, and then you'll find some stone. Like, okay, stone, what's that do? And it says your inventory's full. It's like, okay, what do I do now? And you turn around, you go back to your garage, and then you can sell that stone on the internet, your little computer hub. So you sell the stone, you get money, and then on your workbench, you can go upgrade things. So then you upgrade your shovel with the money you got from the stones. Now I have a bigger shovel. Go back in the backyard, dig bigger holes, get more stones, sell it. Then I upgrade my inventory. Now I can hold more stones. And then you start getting deeper and you get more resources that are worth more money. You start selling them, get more money back from the selling, then you upgrade for more expensive resources or more expensive upgrades. And that's the loop. If you played SteamWorld Dig, it's basically SteamWorld Dig, but the interface and visuals of what like Power Wash Simulator looks like. It's like a Power Wash Simulator cross SteamWorld Dig. Really fun game. It only took me like an hour, a little over an hour to beat it the first time. But I feel like the way the game's set up and the loop is, I was having a lot of fun for right about an hour. If on too much longer, it would have got repetitive and old. Because the game, at least right now, there's not a whole lot of extra mechanics in there. It is, you dig, you get resources, you sell, you upgrade. And I think that loop is very fun for about an hour. And if it wants to go further than that, they're going to have to add a little bit more. One of the best upgrades, you get a little jetpack so you can fly in and out of your hole rather than having to like build yourself a staircase. You just fly out of it. So by the end, beginning you're walking slow and hitting with your little shovel. By the end, you have a drill that just like pummels through the dirt and you're flying back out with your jetpack. It's a lot of fun. I do recommend it. It's a pretty cheap game. I think it was $5 and it was well worth the $5 for an hour of time. And then after you beat the game, if you want to play again, it unlocks achievements and you can keep playing and try to get achievements on another run of digging a hole. From what I understand, the dev did add a couple updates. I think they added like a new material or a new resource. So I'm hopeful that maybe they will keep adding more updates to this game. And maybe if I come check this game out in a year or maybe 6 months from now, there'll be a lot more stuff to do, maybe some new mechanics. But at its simplest, as it is right now, it is a very fun game. A game about digging a hole. That leads me to my last game that came out this month that I played. Came out a couple weekends ago on Xbox. That is Avowed. I got an Xbox Series X last year. I was planning on playing the new Call of Duty. I was going to play Indiana Jones. I was going to play all sorts of stuff, and I just kept putting it off. And then when Avowed came out, it finally made me pick up the controller, and I actually played my Xbox. And I'm really enjoying Avowed. I've got about just under 10 hours in it. I plan on playing some more this weekend. But in those 10 hours, I've really enjoyed. I basically, I'm in the first area. This game is not like a full one big open world like something like Skyrim. It's, from what I understand, it's several large maps. So I'm in the first area, and I've kind of done most of the exploring for that area in those 10 hours. There's one big city in the middle where I'm getting a bunch of side quests and much of the story stuff's happening. And then on the outskirts of the city, there's lots of dungeons, little caves, lots of like bandit camps, monster camps, stuff like that. I've basically done all the exploring, I think, around, and I've been having a blast doing that. The game is beautiful. Lots of vibrant colors. The area I'm in is like a woodsy, very green, lush area. And then there's lots of like purples and blues that like really kind of feel unnatural, but like they're shoved into this natural, green foresty area. So it just looks really good. It sets itself apart. The gameplay's a ton of fun. The combat, is a ton of fun. Very hectic. When I started, I was using, what was I using? I was using a wand and then a sword, and then I got like a cooler sword that had like an elemental effect to it, and then I got a little pistol, because there's pistols in this game, and the pistol has like a electricity effect on it. So basically now I've got this electric pistol, and I'll shoot somebody, and while I'm reloading it, I'm whacking them on the head with my other sword. And there's cooldown abilities. One of the cooldown abilities I have is like I just charge at an enemy. And you lock onto them and you charge at them real fast, and it kind of, for the bigger enemies, it just kind of stumbles them. For the smaller enemies, it like knocks them into a ragdoll, and you basically shoulder check them and they go flying off with like the ragdoll effects, and it's very funny. The other weapon I got is I have a big two-handed sword, and the same thing with that. If I do a charge attack with a two-handed sword and hit like a small enemy, they will like literally just go limp and fly off into the. It's pretty funny, and it's very satisfying. Yeah, the combat's a blast. I've been to a couple of situations where I've gone to maybe a bandit camp that it's a little more tough. The enemies have like the skulls on them. It's like, oh, this is gonna be a hard fight. I've been able to get through that with the help of, like, you have companions. So my companion will take some aggro away, and they'll be doing their special attacks, and I'll be drinking my potions and shooting at them from a distance. But it's very fun. I'm having a blast. The story, I'm intrigued. Like I said, I'm only in the first area, so I assume I'm very early on in the actual story and understanding of what's happening. But I'm intrigued what's happening so far. Your character, from the very beginning, you are a godlike. You are blessed and or cursed by an unknown god, and that is the character you create at the beginning of the game. And you're kind of just trying to, you're going to this place. I think it's called the Other Lands, the Outer Lands. It's like a island that's like away from the main landmass, and you are an envoy or basically an ambassador to the king of the main land, and you are going to this wild area to fix this problem going on there. It's called the Dream Scourge. So your goal is to figure out about that, but as you're doing that, I'm assuming we learn more about who I am as a godlike and what's going on, how I interact with this world. And it's been interesting seeing like how the characters interact with you as that godlike, and how they interact with you as someone who's an ambassador to this mainland, this king, and they don't want you there and all that. It's been a lot of fun. I'm going to finish this game. I'm going to try to keep a consistent play with this one. I know Obsidian, their games aren't super long. Like Outer Worlds. It's like a 30-hour game, and I think Avowed's probably like a 40, 50-hour game, rather than the 100-hour game that Skyrim could be. And this game obviously gets a lot of comparisons to Skyrim. Bethesda, Obsidian, a lot of similarities there, and Skyrim, and then this first-person fantasy RPG Avowed. It's going to bring a lot of comparisons. It doesn't have as many systems as Skyrim. Like, you can't steal from everybody. You can't throw an item on the ground in one area and then come back 2 hours later and it's not going to be still sitting there like in Skyrim. All your ranged weapons, like your bow, you just have unlimited arrows. There's no like arrow inventory. Like in Skyrim, you shoot an arrow into a tree, that arrow is going to stay there until you go get it, and you can go get it, and then you have your arrow back. In Avowed, you just have unlimited arrows, unlimited bullets, unlimited whatever. It's just not that kind of game. It doesn't have all those systems. But, I'm not bothered by it, because you can say, oh, they should have gone the extra mile to put all these systems in there, been much more immersive. But instead, they leaned into this combat is way more fun, way more in-depth than Skyrim. I would rather they make the moment-to-moment gameplay that much better than leaning into adding more systems that could flesh out the world. And I do agree, like being able to being able to steal from random citizens and like attack random NPCs is a good fun mechanic that Skyrim has over something like Avowed. But Avowed, just leaning into its what it's good at with the gameplay and making that the focus. I don't care so much about other stuff, because I'm more worried about just getting back into combat and having more interactions with enemies, which is a weak point of Skyrim. If you ever played Skyrim, the combat is a little goofy, to say the least. But yeah, loving Avowed. I can't wait to play it more. It is my February game of the month. There's another game that I'm looking forward to playing that came out in February, and that's because it actually came out today, the last day of February, and that's Monster Hunter Wilds. I have a copy I'm going to go get after this, but I have not played it yet. I don't have a whole lot of Monster Hunter experience. I played Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch. I enjoyed it enough. I did not click with all of its systems. I did beat the game. I played a lot of the post game. I put a good 60 hours in the game, but I didn't have that love for Monster Hunter that I thought I would have, and that a lot of my friends have, and that a lot of the Monster Hunter community, people love these games. It didn't quite click with me in Rise. I'm hoping that Wilds will click with me a little bit more. I've heard it's a little bit more streamlined. Maybe for someone like me, that'll help me push me over the edge and make me enjoy it that much more. So I'll talk about that next month. And maybe retroactively, Monster Hunter Wilds becomes my February game of the month. But right now, Avowed pretty safely has that one locked down. All right, as far as the games I played this month that did not come out in February, I'll start with the big one. I played a lot of Black Myth Wukong. Black Myth Wukong's a game that came out in August digitally. I avoided it until it came out in December physically. and I've been playing it here and there for the last few months. And I say the last few months because that game is a lot longer than I expected. I thought we were talking like a 20-hour, fairly linear story, boss battles. That's what I heard. It was like a linear boss rush. The game ended up being much bigger than I realized. There's a lot more exploring than I realized. And I think at this point, kind of to its deficit, I feel like I'm doing everything. It's my own choice to do everything, do all the side quests, do all the bosses, do all the secrets. But at this point, I'm just kind of ready for the game to end. I feel like it was really dragging, and I'm so over leveled from doing everything. Most of the bosses at this point are just kind of pushovers. If it's not a story boss, with a combination of the skills and just my experience with the game and the equipment I have, I can just pretty much beat any boss without ever getting hit. Story bosses obviously are different. They have some measures to prevent you from cheesing them like that, and they're a little bit more difficult. Those are still fun. But the random Joe Schmo bosses that show up, I don't even remember their names because they're just all insignificant enemies at this point. But where I'm at in the game, I'm on the last chapter. I'm like basically I can go fight the last boss right now. I'm just cleaning up a little bit of some extra stuff. I'll say there's some late game stuff I want to try while I'm still playing the game, because I know after you beat the game, I'm pretty sure you can go back and like clean up anything you missed. But I know once I beat this game, I've been playing it for so long, I want to move on to something else. And it's on my PS5. I want to play some Monster Hunter Wilds. So I want to, once I beat this game, I want to just be done with it for a while, put it on the shelf, come back to it in 6 months or a year. So I have not quite done the last boss yet. I'm gonna try a couple more things today. I'm gonna do the last boss, put the game on the shelf, and it'll sit there for a few months. Overall, I did really enjoy this game. I thought it was a lot of fun. I just think that it's a little bit too long for its own good. But there has been some very cool secrets I have enjoyed. With the help of guides, finding those secrets, there's some really cool stuff in there. I think it probably would have made my top 10 had I finished it last year. My top 10 list. I don't know if it would have been like a top 5 or anything. I don't think it would have been a top 5 or anything. But it probably would have been in my top 10 games last year for 2024. I'm glad I played it. I'm glad I'm almost done with it. Other games I played this month. I've been trying to stream a new game every month. I'm trying to make myself stream weekly, and I want to experience new games that either I missed or new games that are coming out in that weekly stream time. So the game I chose to stream in February is Epic Mickey Rebrushed. Epic Mickey's one of those games that it came out on the Wii, and I feel like I should have played it when I was 12 on the Wii, and I would have really enjoyed it. I've always been a Disney fan. I grew up with a lot of Disney stuff going on, so Mickey Mouse is my boy. And a Mickey Mouse 3D platformer sounds right up my alley. And Epic Mickey Rebrushed, I have enjoyed it. It is fun. I'm playing it on the Switch. In hindsight, I kind of wish I was playing on the PS5. The Switch version has some terrible load times, and I'm sure it would look a little bit better on the PS5. Overall, I think the game itself is pretty fun concept, fun platforming, exploring all that. It's a little hand-holdy. It's a little slow with like panning slowly over to where you need to go and then panning slowly back to where you are. And those little 8 to 10 second time wasters kind of build up over the course of the game, to where this game is clearly made for a younger audience to understand and enjoy it. And then someone like me is like, okay, I get it. I go over there, I get the thing. I don't need to explain it to me, but I have to sit there and watch them slowly explain it, slowly go back. But I'm glad I played it. I've got probably 1 or 2 streams left to finish it, because I wasn't streaming as consistently in February as I was in January. And then one of the streams in February, I did stream Avowed for like 3.5 hours. So that kind of took up some time from Epic Mickey, but I plan on finishing it. I am enjoying it, and hopefully I'll finish it this first week of March. Another game I'm trying to finish up is from January is Donkey Kong Country Returns. This is one I'm not like putting a whole lot of effort into. I'm just, if I'm on the couch, something else is on the TV, I'll play a couple levels at a time of Donkey Kong Country Returns. I'm not like focusing on it. This is when I have time, when I'm just lounging on the couch with the Switch, I'll play Donkey Kong Country Returns. I'm on World 7. I believe this version of the game has 9 worlds because they have the extra world from the 3DS for the bonus levels or something like that. I might check the bonus levels out. Part of me is thinking, I like 200% completed Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze when that came out. I've got other stuff I want to get on the Switch that I want to get to, so maybe I just finish Donkey Kong Country Returns and don't worry about being a completionist about it. So I'll hopefully finish that up also here relatively soon. Just knock out those last couple worlds and put that one back on the shelf. Fun game. I mentioned it last month. I'll just mention it again. Very fun momentum in the levels. If you are moving fast and timing your jumps right, things will string together naturally. The levels are designed very well to allow you to go from one enemy to one obstacle to one platform to the next. It's very good momentum, very good speed, very good spacing of the jumps. And then they also do a really good job of it is a 2D platformer, but things from the background will come into your plane, and you see it coming from the background. You have to interact, add some depth to it. The example I gave last month was the waves crashing at the beach. So you saw the big tidal wave coming from the background, and it crashed on the beach that you were on. And just those little details of adding depth to the levels sets it apart from just another 2D platformer. Donkey Kong Country Returns, great game. Just not what I want to really be playing right now. And I would say if you played Tropical Freeze, I remember enjoying Tropical Freeze a little bit more. That might have just been because I was more in the mood for a game like that at the time. Both these games are solid. You can't go wrong with playing either of them. I think I like Tropical Freeze a little bit more, though. And then the last game I played, this one I've only played maybe an hour on. Also, same thing, on the Switch when I have just free time messing around. They added Wario Land 4 to NSO. I do enjoy checking out NSO games as they come out, just to add myself a little bit of background, strengthening my foundation of retro games or whatever. Wario Land 4 and Wario Land series in general is one I didn't have a whole lot of experience with growing up. I've been going back and experiencing them as an adult. I've never played Wario Land 4, but it's on the GBA NSO now, so I checked it out. It's a pretty neat game. Basically the way it works is, so Wario has like a shoulder dash. You can run and bash through walls, and then when you're in that charging motion, you can also jump up and break things with your head. So, your platforming abilities are breaking things and having fast momentum with that run. You can also roll into a ball and roll down a hill and break things like that. But the objective of this game is basically you're going through levels and you're finding these secret little chests in them. The chests have these little gemstones. And throughout the level, you're finding the 4 pieces to this gemstone, and it makes a little diamond thing. And when you find that diamond, it'll open up the door to the next level. But the twist is you go through a level, you're finding these secrets, and you get to the end and you get a key. And then when you get the key, a timer starts going down. And then you got to run back through the level. And the levels are kind of designed in 2 ways, like your forward path through it and your backwards path through it. So you get the key at the end, a timer goes down, then you got to run back to the exit before the timer hits down. So far, like I said, I've only played like 4 levels or so, maybe 5 levels. I haven't died yet, and the timer hasn't been super tight yet, but I'm still early on. And it's a cool concept. I like the idea of exploring these 2D platforming levels to find the secrets, find the gems, and then the idea of re-experiencing the level in reverse under a time crunch is a fun little concept. So I'll slowly chip away at this one, see if it holds my attention. I don't think it's too long of a game. So maybe one of these weekends I just sit down and knock it out. Who knows? But yeah, that is all the games I played this month of February. I'm looking forward to March. There's a couple games in March that I want to put some time into. The big one I'm really looking forward to in March is Xenoblade Chronicles X. That's probably going to be the one that I put the most time into next month. There's a couple other games coming out, some indie games I've been looking forward to that I'll talk about next month when I play them. But that's all I got for today. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next month.